Chapter 15 Laws about Sacrifices. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying,
Speak to the children of Israel, and tell them, When you have come into the land of your habitations, which I give to you, and will make an offering by fire to Yahweh, a burnt offering or a sacrifice, to accomplish a vow, or as a freewill offering, or in your set feasts, to make a pleasant aroma to Yahweh, of the herd or of the flock. Then he who offers his offering shall offer to Yahweh a meal offering of 1/10 part of an ephah of fine flour, mixed with the 1/4 part of a hin of oil, and wine for the drink offering. The 1/4 part of a hin you shall prepare with the burnt offering, or for the sacrifice, for each lamb, or for a ram. You shall prepare for a meal offering 2/10 parts of an ephah of fine flour, mixed with the 1/3 part of a hin of oil. And for the drink offering, you shall offer the 1/3 part of a hin of wine, of a pleasant aroma to Yahweh. When you prepare a bull for a burnt offering, or for a sacrifice, to accomplish a vow, or for peace offerings to Yahweh, then shall he offer with the bull a meal offering of 3/10 parts of an ephah of fine flour, mixed with half a hin of oil. And you shall offer for the drink offering half a hin of wine, for an offering made by fire, of a pleasant aroma to Yahweh. Thus shall it be done for each bull, or for each ram, or for each of the male lambs, or of the young goats, according to the number that you shall prepare. So you shall do to everyone according to their number. All who are native born shall do these things in this way, in offering an offering made by fire of a pleasant aroma to Yahweh. If a stranger lives as a foreigner with you, or whoever may be among you throughout your generations, and will offer an offering made by fire, of a pleasant aroma to Yahweh, as you do, so he shall do. For the assembly there shall be one statute for you, and for the stranger who lives as a foreigner with you, a statute forever throughout your generations. As you are, so shall the foreigner be before Yahweh. One law and one ordinance shall be for you and for the stranger who lives as a foreigner with you.
Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying,
Speak to the children of Israel, and tell them, When you come into the land where I bring you, then it shall be that when you eat of the bread of the land, you shall offer up a wave offering to Yahweh. Of the first of your dough you shall offer up a cake for a wave offering, as the wave offering of the threshing floor, so you shall heave it. Of the first of your dough you shall give to Yahweh a wave offering throughout your generations.
Offerings for unintentional sins.
When you shall err, and not observe all these commandments which Yahweh has spoken to Moses, even all that Yahweh has commanded you by Moses, from the day that Yahweh gave commandment and onward throughout your generations, then it shall be, if it be done unwittingly, without the knowledge of the congregation, that all the congregation shall offer one young bull for a burnt offering, for a pleasant aroma to Yahweh, with the meal offering of it, and the drink offering of it, according to the ordinance, and one male goat for a sin offering. The priest shall make atonement for all the congregation of the children of Israel, and they shall be forgiven, for it was an error, and they have brought their offering, an offering made by fire to Yahweh, and their sin offering before Yahweh for their error. And all the congregation of the children of Israel shall be forgiven, and the stranger who lives as a foreigner among them. For in respect of all the people it was done unwittingly. If one person sins unwittingly, then he shall offer a female goat a year old for a sin offering. The priest shall make atonement for the soul who errs, when he sins unwittingly, before Yahweh, to make atonement for him, and he shall be forgiven. You shall have one law for him who does anything unwittingly, for him who is native born among the children of Israel, and for the stranger who lives as a foreigner among them. But the soul who does anything with a high hand, whether he is native born or a foreigner, the same blasphemes Yahweh, and that soul shall be cut off from among his people, because he has despised the word of Yahweh, and has broken his commandment. That soul shall utterly be cut off. His iniquity shall be on him.
A Sabbath breaker stoned. While the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man gathering sticks on the Sabbath day. Those who found him gathering sticks brought him to Moses and Aaron and to all the congregation. They put him in custody, because it had not been declared what should be done to him. Yahweh said to Moses,
The man shall surely be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones outside of the camp.
All the congregation brought him outside of the camp and stoned him to death with stones, as Yahweh commanded Moses. The Law of Tassels. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying,
Speak to the children of Israel, and tell them that they should make themselves fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put on the fringe of each border a cord of blue. And it shall be to you for a fringe, that you may look on it, and remember all the commandments of Yahweh, and do them, and that you not follow after your own heart and your own eyes, after which you used to play the prostitute, that you may remember and do all my commandments, and be holy to your God. I am Yahweh your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, to be your God. I am Yahweh your God.
Chapter 16. Korah's Rebellion. Now Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, with Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men, and they rose up before Moses, with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the congregation, called to the assembly, men of renown, and they assembled themselves together against Moses and against Aaron, and said to them, You take too much on yourself, since all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and Yahweh is among them. Why then lift yourselves up above the assembly of Yahweh?" When Moses heard it, he fell on his face, and he spoke to Korah and to all his company, saying, "In the morning Yahweh will show who are his, and who is holy, and will cause him to come near to him. Even him whom he shall choose, he will cause to come near to him. Do this: take censers, Korah and all his company, and put fire in them, and put incense on them before Yahweh tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom Yahweh chooses, he shall be holy. You have gone too far, you sons of Levi." Moses said to Korah, "Hear now, you sons of Levi, is it a small thing to you that the God of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near to himself, to do the service of the tabernacle of Yahweh, and to stand before the congregation to minister to them, and that he has brought you near, and all your brothers, the sons of Levi, with you? And do you seek the priesthood also? Therefore, you and all your company are gathered together against Yahweh. And Aaron, what is he that you murmur against him?" Moses sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and they said, "We won't come up. Is it a small thing that you have brought us up out of a land flowing with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness? But you must also make yourself a prince over us? Moreover, you haven't brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, nor given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Will you put out the eyes of these men? We won't come up." Moses was very angry and said to Yahweh, "Don't respect their offering. I have not taken one donkey from them, neither have I hurt one of them." Moses said to Korah, "You and all your company go before Yahweh, you and they, and Aaron, tomorrow, and each man take his censer, and put incense on them, and each man bring before Yahweh his censer, 250 censers, you also, and Aaron, each his censer." They each took his censer and put fire in them, and laid incense thereon, and stood at the door of the tent of meeting with Moses and Aaron. Korah assembled all the congregation against them to the door of the tent of meeting, and the glory of Yahweh appeared to all the congregation. Yahweh spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying,
"Separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment."
They fell on their faces and said, "God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and will you be angry with all the congregation?" Moses separates the people. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying,
"Speak to the congregation, saying, Get away from around the tent of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram."
Moses rose up and went to Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. He spoke to the congregation, saying, "Depart, please, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest you be consumed in all their sins." So they went away from the tent of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram on every side. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stood at the door of their tents, and their wives, and their sons, and their little ones. Moses said, "Hereby you shall know that Yahweh has sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own mind. If these men die the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then Yahweh hasn't sent me. But if Yahweh make a new thing, and the ground open its mouth and swallow them up, with all that appertain to them, and they go down alive into Sheol, then you shall understand that these men have despised Yahweh." The earth swallows up Korah. It happened, as he made an end of speaking all these words, that the ground split apart that was under them, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up, and their households, and all the men who appertained to Korah, and all their goods. So they and all that appertained to them went down alive into Sheol, and the earth closed on them, and they perished from among the assembly. All Israel that were around them fled at the cry of them, for they said, "Lest the earth swallow us up." Fire came forth from Yahweh, and devoured the 250 men who offered the incense. The censers reserved for holy use. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying,
Speak to Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, that he take up the censers out of the burning, and scatter the fire yonder, for they are holy, even the censers of these sinners against their own lives, and let them be made beaten plates for a covering of the altar. For they offered them before Yahweh, therefore they are holy, and they shall be a sign to the children of Israel.
Eleazar the priest took the bronze censers, which those who were burnt had offered, and they beat them out for a covering of the altar, to be a memorial to the children of Israel, to the end that no stranger who isn't of the seed of Aaron comes near to burn incense before Yahweh, that he not be as Korah and as his company, as Yahweh spoke to him by Moses. Murmuring and plague. But on the next day, all the congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron, saying, "You have killed Yahweh's people." It happened when the congregation was assembled against Moses and against Aaron that they looked toward the tent of meeting, and behold, the cloud covered it, and the glory of Yahweh appeared. Moses and Aaron came to the front of the tent of meeting. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying,
Get away from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment.
They fell on their faces. Moses said to Aaron, Take your censer, and put fire from off the altar in it, and lay incense on it, and carry it quickly to the congregation, and make atonement for them. For wrath has gone out from Yahweh. The plague has begun. Aaron did as Moses said, and ran into the midst of the assembly. And behold, the plague has begun among the people. And he put on the incense, and made atonement for the people. He stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stayed. Now those who died by the plague were 14,700, besides those who died about the matter of Korah. Aaron returned to Moses to the door of the tent of meeting, and the plague was stayed. Chapter 17. Aaron's staff buds. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying,
Speak to the children of Israel, and take of them rods, one for each father's house, of all their princes, according to their fathers' houses, 12 rods. Write every man's name on his rod. You shall write Aaron's name on the rod of Levi, for there shall be one rod for each head of their fathers' houses. You shall lay them up in the tent of meeting before the testimony, where I meet with you. It shall happen that the rod of the man whom I shall choose shall bud, and I will make to cease from me the murmurings of the children of Israel, which they murmur against you.
Moses spoke to the children of Israel, and all their princes gave him rods, for each prince one, according to their fathers' houses, even 12 rods. And the rod of Aaron was among their rods. Moses laid up the rods before Yahweh in the tent of the testimony. It happened on the next day that Moses went into the tent of the testimony, and behold, the rod of Aaron for the house of Levi was budded, and put forth buds, and produced blossoms, and bore ripe almonds. Moses brought out all the rods from before Yahweh to all the children of Israel, and they looked, and took every man his rod. Yahweh said to Moses,
Put back the rod of Aaron before the testimony, to be kept for a token against the children of rebellion, that you may make an end of their murmurings against me, that they not die.
Moses did so. As Yahweh commanded him, so he did. The children of Israel spoke to Moses, saying, Behold, we perish. We are undone. We are all undone. Everyone who comes near to the tabernacle of Yahweh, dies. Will we all perish?